At the home of Martha and Mary, as Jesus and his disciples were on their way, he came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to him.
She had a sister called Mary who sat at the Lord's feet listening to what he said.
But Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. She came to him and asked, "Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do all the work by myself? Tell her to help me out."
Martha, Martha, the Lord answered, you are worried and upset about many things.
But few things are needed, or indeed only one. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her.
I do love this story. Just seeing the family dynamics that are mentioned here is a really beautiful thing, and that's primarily what I was trying to capture in the painting, because you know, people understand families, and the relationship between Bex and Sarah was a fun one to explore with the painting. Interestingly, we actually get a lot more information about what was going on in this scenario in a different gospel. In John, in chapter 11 and 12, there's a whole load more that's going on. Because in chapter 11 in John, Mary and Martha's brother, Lazarus, he's raised from the dead. Jesus brings him back, and it's in the next chapter that they have this dinner that Martha's hosting, and Mary's there, and we also hear in chapter 12 that Mary, she's not only sitting at Jesus' feet, but she gets this expensive perfume and she pours it over him, and she wipes her, she uses her hair to wipe his feet with this perfume. So, you know, you get this even more intense sense of what's going on there. Martha's so grateful to Jesus that she's throwing this big dinner, and Mary's so grateful to Jesus because their brother was dead and now he's back, that she just wants to sit there and be with them. And people have already talked about people wanting to kill Jesus. So I understand why one person's reaction would be, I want to do the nicest thing for you possible, and I understand why another person's reaction would be, I just want to be with you and do something nice for you. They both just wanted to be with him and do something nice for him. And it's lovely just to see this. In Luke, Lazarus isn't actually mentioned, but I thought it would be great to have someone in the background. Bex and Sarah have a brother, Sam, and I thought let's just have this laddie in the background, which was particularly sweet because their parents and Sam were just about to move to Australia. They weren't going to see him for a long time, so it was lovely to be able to capture the three of them in this painting. And even though Lazarus doesn't get a mention in Luke, you know he's there, and in John we hear he's one of the guests at the table and he's there reclining at the table. I've known Bex for quite a while, since she started working in the cafe when she was just 17, and she's turning 21 soon. And I've got to see her grow up over that time, which has been a huge privilege, seeing a kid become an adult. And now I'm just starting to get to know Sarah that little bit better. And I've got 3 daughters, and I get to observe in my own family sibling dynamics a lot, and just trying to capture something of the everydayness of life in an extraordinary circumstance felt important with this painting.
I'm Bex, and this is my sister Sarah. I'm the eldest. A lot of people can tell we're sisters because of our height, right?
Yeah. Are you guys sisters?
Yeah, we are. We work at the Wild Olive Tree. So I started when I was 17 and I'm turning 21 in March. I was in a wee bit of a dark spot before I came here, and obviously God knew exactly what I needed when I needed it. I was kind of thinking about how much I've actually changed as a person and how much this place has changed me and like helped me grow, not physically because we don't need any more of that, but helped me grow into who I am and what I believe and my relationship with God.
Yeah, well, mine isn't quite as an amazing story as yours, but I started here last summer. I already feel very at home in this place, and this is where I feel my family is. And before our parents moved to Australia, it was really important to me that I stayed with family and stayed surrounded by people who I know care about me.
Sense of community, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it is my safe place. I come here and I feel better. And I just feel safe.
This is a safe place. You know, the amount of people that have come in these doors and been changed, not by like us or the cafe or whatever, but just the place that it is and the sense of God really being in here. It's incredible. I know it's changed my life.
It's definitely changed my life as well.
Oh, a lot. A couple of weeks ago in church, one of our pastors asked us to have a wee quiet moment with God and ask him what could we do to take the distractions out of our lives to help us focus on him. And what I saw was a flashback of this previous year of all the moments where I've felt stressed out or overwhelmed or anxious, and I saw in those moments that God had gone through and where I had like focused my attention on things that were unhelpful and unhealthy and were actually toxic. He had taken those out and replaced all of those things with him in those flashbacks. So all of those moments had been replaced and had been turned into actually really peaceful ones that had come to peaceful resolutions because of him. And I think it's so important to just, whenever you're feeling overwhelmed, just reshift your focus and your attention on him. And it's tough. Like, it might look like just sitting in your room, like listening to worship music until you feel okay again. But I think it's so important, you know.
It's not always easy to do that because there are a lot of distractions, but no, I know what you mean. Yeah, I would say just everything, it's very easy to be distracted and it's very easy to lose sight of what is important, especially when things feel overwhelming and when you've got anxiety about social media and keeping up with appearances. And it's easy to lose sight of what's important, but at the end of the day it does all come back to God. And I think when I do feel overwhelmed, that's when I'm most vulnerable to losing connection with God. But at the end of it all, I know that I can come here and I feel safe, and I feel if I ever feel like life's too much and I come into the cafe, it's just like it lifts that off my shoulders.